let's change to the next topic, which is harsher mortgage lending criteria to blame for increasing rate of property chain breaks. Kean, you had some stats that you wanted to share.
Yes, so in the first quarter of 2024, there was a report done looking into the reasons why sales fell through. So 40%, obviously the majority of sales fell through due to difficulty securing a mortgage, obviously tying in with harsher lending criteria, interest rates, things like that.
And if I can jump in there, Kian, yeah, you're absolutely right. Difficulty securing a mortgage. What happens when people go to buy a property? They go to the mortgage advisor, they go to the bank, building society, and they get an AIP, which is agreement in principle.
Yeah.
And that AIP is just an overall look at your finance, and they go, yes, you can borrow up to, let's say, I don't know, £500,000. But when you go to put the application in, and they look well into your finances, and you've got outgoings, and you've got credit cards, and you've got loans, and you've got all the other bits and pieces, all of a sudden they won't lend you what they said they will. Hence, 40% of sales falls through because they'd already set their heart on buying a property. They've already put an offer forward. They said this is what they're going to pay for it, and then the lender says, no, I can't lend you 5, but I can lend you 4 because of your, they've had a look into your finances. Now, the seller can't sell their property for £100,000 less. So what happens? They pull out. So that's why 40% falls through, because of the lending criteria, where everyone thinks they can borrow X amount, but in reality, when it comes down to nitty-gritty, they can't borrow as much. Hence, it falls through.
And then almost going on similar to that, you have 27% of sales which fell through due to buyers no longer wanting to proceed or changing their mind. This could potentially be the similar thing to that, perhaps, where they have to spend a bit more on mortgages and things like that, and it's not stacking up anymore.
Exactly. Or so people do get buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse, they get excited about it, and they go think about it, and they sleep on it, and then a week later they go, you know what, I don't want this. So it's a buyer's remorse where they got excited at the beginning and then they changed their mind. Yeah.
Then you have significantly lower proportion now. You have 14% due to chain collapsing, a sale didn't go through, and then you have 12% going through which failed due to gazumping. And then the final 7% was due to complications with the survey. But you see, obviously the vast majority comes from difficulty securing a mortgage, and potentially things like buyer's remorse, which is more
correct. Now, obviously, the 14%, which is due to chains collapsing. Obviously, if you're buying a property, you might be in a chain of 3 or 4 different buyers up and down the chain, and if one collapses, the whole chain collapses, unless an agent can put it back together, which is unlikely, because it sells takes usually 6, 7, 8 weeks for it to be put together again. So on that basis, people can't wait. They go, oh well, never mind, I'll go somewhere else, and the whole thing falls apart. And then you've got gazumping. Now, gazumping only really happens in a seller's market rather than buyer's market. Yes, at the moment, we've had the buyer's. It's been a buyer's market, which means people can choose what they want. They can knock down the prices and everything else. And sellers, they really they have to drop their prices if the buyer says, I'm not paying that much for it. Gazumping happens where there is a lot of buyers, not many properties. That's when people gazump. Although at the moment there's buyers and sellers, but buyers can't get the mortgage, as you said, point number 1. Hence, gazumping doesn't really happen. Hence, percentage is pretty low on this one at the moment. I remember back in the 80s when I first started out in this business, gazumping was rife. It was absolutely rife. It was, every house or home that we sold, within a matter of a few days later, somebody would offer thousands of pounds more than the previous buyer, and if we said, look, we don't entertain gazumping, they would go and knock on the owner's door and go, I'll offer you more. Then they would come back to us and go, no, you get, I've had somebody knock on my door. So that's how the gazumping kind of worked. But yes, and then obviously you got the last one, which 7% sales abandoned due to complication with survey. Again, when a survey is done, things come up on the survey which the buyer all of a sudden gets scared. and says, well, no, I don't want it. It's going to cost me a lot of money to fix that. So they walk away. It's a small percentage, but nonetheless, it's there. Yeah.
You're talking about the AIP,
Yeah.
and then obviously it was 40% of sales collapses securing a mortgage. Has that always been the case from that percent? Has it always been from the 80s, or has it actually got harsher since you remember?
No, it's definitely got harsher because of the lending criteria. When back in the 80s and 90s and 2000, lending was a lot easier. So they didn't take into account for instance, they didn't take into account the money that you were outstanding to a loan or a credit card. They wouldn't take that into account normally. And if you had an outgoing to for instance, a monthly outgoing to a gym, they wouldn't take that into account. Nowadays, some lenders do take everything into account. Your regular monthly outgoing, they take that into account, and then they deduct it from the lending. And never used to be like that. So that's why AIP doesn't take any of that into consideration. AIP, the only thing AIP does is, okay, how much do you earn? Do you have any loans, any credit cards? If the answer is no, okay, we can lend you 4.5, 5.5 times, your salary. But when they get into nitty-gritty and the application, all of a sudden you may have a smoking habit. Now that they take that into account. You may be, as you said, go to the gym and spend on £100 a month on a regular basis because it shows that on your bank statements. So it's what shows on your bank statements that is on a regular basis that they will penalise you for it. Yes.
So the best bet is before you go and apply for a mortgage to make sure all your debts are cleared and.
Yes, of course, and also if you've got certain habits that whether it's through sports, smoking, whatever, do tell your financial advisor these are what you spend on a monthly basis, so they take that into account when they give you the AIP.
Yeah.
Yes.
You won't be disheartened when it doesn't come up.
Exactly that. Yeah.
That's all for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos from us in the future. Join us next time where we'll be discussing the biggest developments in the property investment sector and how they may affect you.